champions! Champions of Europe finally! History made in Istanbul! The treble complete! The greatest story in club history has an ending! And what a final chapter!
Hello everybody and welcome back to Typical City, potentially 1 point away from Champions League knockout qualification. I can't wait for this one. It should be a bit of a beating for young boys in truth. We should be beating them. Before I get started, I just want to welcome everyone in the chat. Hello to everyone who's joining. Treble winners, 4-0 you're going for, Roblox fan. Becoming a bit of a regular, mate. Good to see you again. Dudley, good to see you. Douglas, James, mcfc TV, Section 20, Cortez. Good to see you all. Really happy to see you all in the chat. But first of all, how red are my ears? Have you ever seen anything like that? What is going on there? Like, have you seen? It's like I've dipped them in paint. Like Man United ears. Got what's going on here? Like, I don't know what. I've been Googling it. Like 2 minutes before going live, I was Googling it. Like, red ears. What the hell does that mean? Am I dying? I swear I'm gonna die. I've got red ears syndrome, whatever the hell that is. I need to get this looked at. I don't know what it is, but hopefully it doesn't distract you from a marvellous Manchester City win. Nonetheless, but team news is interesting as well, which surprising to see Haaland. Really surprised to see Haaland, considering the sprained ankle was supposed to be, he was in training the day after, so, he was smiling and happy, reporting that at least, and you're hoping it wasn't serious. Looks like it isn't, because he's straight in the starting 11. I am surprised at that. Not so surprised by the rest of the team. I was kind of hoping to see Oscar Bob just for a little bit, but obviously Pep's taking this even more seriously than I was. In my preview at least, because I went a little bit weaker than this. He's gone fairly strong. I was expecting the back line to be exactly what it is. But John Stones starting in the middle. Excuse me. But Nunes and Kovacic as well. Starting from the back though. Ederson, Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Gvardiol. They're the back three. Stones and Rico Lewis sitting in front of them. I imagine Rico Lewis is going to be an inverted right back, tucking in alongside John Stones when we have the ball, which will be the majority of the game. But now we're seeing John Stones doing the Rodri role, which is interesting, because I've only ever seen John Stones play as a defensive midfielder with Rodri alongside him. Now he's being given the responsibility to do it on his own, which I'm excited about. This is a real opportunity for him now to prove himself that he is that level. He can compete, and we've got a John Stones alternative effectively, which is amazing news going forward. Should we ever get into a situation again where Rodri's suspended or injured, whatever it may be, Stones can step in as a lone figure and do that. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Nunes and Kovacic as well is interesting. It's the same two midfield front two that we played at the Wankdorf Stadium. I know there's some people who wanted to do a drinking game today. Every time I mention Wankdorf, you take a shot. So go and get yourself some spirits and take a shot every time I say Wankdorf. You should have already had two by now if you're playing the game. I'm not playing the game because I need to be more or less sober to do this functionally. I find it hard enough sober, changing the scores and things like that. I find it hard sober, so doing this pissed isn't the greatest idea. One day maybe we'll do a drunk watch-along together, shall we? But Foden and Grealish alongside Nunes and Kovacic with Haaland up top. That's got to be, wiping the floor with young boys, really. I wasn't expecting him to go this strong, but you've got to take into consideration the UEFA coefficiency rankings and how every single group game matters, when points are up for grabs. Currently, we are top with 130 points in the UEFA coefficiency ranking system, with Bayern Munich second. I'm pretty sure it's Real Madrid third, and then I can't remember who's fourth. I'm sure Liverpool are fifth, if I remember rightly, but still, it matters to the club because it's a case of, letting the world know, look where City are, top of another table, ahead of Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, those two historic and prestigious clubs, and City are sitting right above them in the UEFA coefficiency ranking. I'm not entirely sure how the coefficiency ranking works in terms of points. I understand wins. Obviously, winning a game gains you points. Losing a game loses you points. I understand those basics. But there are little nitty-gritty variables that can change, that can affect. Even, I think, discipline comes into it, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm pretty sure we got into the Europa League once. Who remembers that? Getting into the Europa League with the Fair Play League. I don't even know if that's still a thing, in the Premier League. We got in to the Europa League through the back door by not getting that many yellow cards, which I'm not even sure that's that big an achievement, really. Not kicking someone, I don't see how that should be rewarded so highly with a place in Europe. I never understood that to begin with, to be honest. But we did get in there one day, so I don't know how serious that UEFA take discipline right now. But I know the fact that Red Star are currently, who's top? Who's third and fourth in Young Boys? One or the other. Young Boys and Red Star. One is ahead of the other. I need to check Group G. One is ahead of the other, down to discipline record. So they're going for this game today. I know they probably have to hold their hands up and go, we're not getting into the knockout stages. We're out. It's between City and RB Leipzig, battling it out for first and second. And Red Star and Young Boys are fighting it for third spot to get into the Europa League. So, albeit they're effectively out today, they've got something to fight for in the Europa League spot. And right now, one of them, I need to clarify which one is third right now, but one of them is top due to the least amount of yellow cards and least amount of fouls, which, I don't know, not a big fan of that. Scott's in the chat, good to see you. The ears were red in the last... I know, mate, I noticed, and then I thought, that was a one-off. I don't know what it is. What is it? It's freaking me out. They feel hot as well, like they burn. Ooh. It's like, maybe it's because, you can probably hear me right now, maybe it's because I've got a missus who's a United fan, and she's poisoning me with her United talk into my ears so much that they're turning red. Not good. Jay's Killers, you with your... Jay's Killers is in the chat. What? There you go. Following it up with a 1-0 to Young Boys. As usual, Jay's Killer sprinkling your optimism into the chat. Love to see it, mate. Gamification, good to see you. Big M in the chat, good to see you. Eric as well. I think Pep is trying to shore up qualification for the next round early so he can focus on the other competitions like the Premier League and or FA Cup. Too many trophies to defend. I'm not jealous, I swear. Yeah, mate. I think you're absolutely right. The thing is, we only need a point. I was a little bit... I'm not a fan of starting Haaland tonight because of the injury that he received. He's clearly okay. Pep wouldn't start him. Surely Pep wouldn't start him. And I know Haaland's going to be in the ear of Pep Guardiola saying, come on, he's obsessed with Champions League football. He's obsessed with Champions League goals. So to miss out on an opportunity to play against Young Boys, I mean, on paper, this is a Haaland hat-trick, isn't it? This game. We should be seeing 2 or 3 goals from Erling Haaland tonight. And I think there's a very good chance that we will. And that just adds his total up. He's so focused on getting a legacy in Champions League history, as one of the greatest goal scorers in the competition's history. He's well on his way to doing that. There's no reason why he can't do it. But I'm just thinking Stamford Bridge, Sunday. It's going to be a big game. We need Erling Haaland. Bit of a light show going on here for at the Etihad, which is good to see. Padder in the chat, good to see you. Mudao in the chat. Eric, Cortez, 3-1 City's gone for. Vinny. Jan, good to see you, Jan. Yeah, no. What are your predictions for tonight, really? I can't see anything but a City win other than Jay's Killers, who has gone for 1-0 Young Boys. Just to take the piss. I'm almost certain just to take the piss. I'm hoping it is. Because I question your football knowledge, Jay's Killers, if you really believe that Young Boys are going to win this 1-0. But stranger things have happened. Teams are in the tunnel right now, getting warmed up. Rico Lewis has got an opportunity tonight to prove himself because I thought he played well at the Wankdorf Stadium. Said it again, so have a drink if you haven't already. He played well, but he was at fault for their equaliser, wasn't he? He tried to play the offside trap, if you remember, for a liar who went through. There's nothing that he could have done about that finish. That finish was ridiculous. Like, such a good finish from a liar, dinking it over Ederson. Nice little chip. But he tried to press, didn't he? He tried to catch him offside, kind of reminiscent of Spurs' approach to Chelsea and being with 9 men. What a game that was yesterday, by the way. I'm sure you've all watched it, like at least watched the highlights by now, because that was insane. What a game of football that was. And do you know what stood out to me more than anything, as a City fan in particular, watching that game, is we don't get involved in games like that anymore. And it pains me to say this, but I miss games like that. We don't get involved in, like, you know, obviously we got Rodri sent off, but there's no way City are going down to 9 men, sorry. We don't get in situations like that. We don't get in situations where we're facing 9 men and we can't destroy them. How Chelsea didn't already, like, as soon as they went down to 9 men, playing that high line that they played at the halfway line, how Chelsea didn't go and score 5 or 6 goals within 10 minutes, you know, of going down to 9 men. Those tactics were insane from Postecoglou. Brave, courageous, and everyone's lauding him as a fantastic tactician for even trying it. And it did almost get them an equaliser. I like the ballsiness of it, but do that against City and you will get annihilated, because we have the composure to hold our line. They had Mudryk and Sterling, who, like, Sterling's terrible at keeping his line. He's always caught offside, Raheem Sterling. Mudryk was caught offside all the time. There's no way City players would do that. They would hold their line and they would understand quickly. They would adapt to the situation, recognise Spurs are playing a high line. All we have to do here is be patient. Be patient and wait for the correct ball, time your run perfectly, and you're going to score a bag full of goals. How they didn't go and win that game 6-7-1 is beyond me with 9 men, considering what Spurs employed. But we don't get involved in things like that anymore, and I miss it because we're too good. We don't get that. We don't get that poor. We don't make those sort of mistakes anymore. You know, and it's, some people would call it boring. You know, winning as a formality. You know, it's such a foregone conclusion. I mean, like, the City just dominate the football and they don't make these rash decisions. They're going down to 9 men and it's insane. Absolutely insane. But I tell you what, an unbelievable game to watch. From the neutral's perspective, what a game of football that was to watch. It had everything. Really, really good. I can't see that happening tonight, unfortunately. I think it's going to be a bit of a one-sided affair. What did I predict in the preview? I can't even remember what I predicted. I think I went 4-0, didn't I? I think I went 4-0. I'm predicting Grealish. That's what I'm predicting. Grealish goal. I think Grealish is going to get a goal tonight. Teams are all getting ready. Kyle Walker, who is coming for Akanji, by the way, by the looks of it. Just recognised. So that's buggered my little graphic alongside me. I saw him, just as I was clicking live, I saw Akanji walking down the tunnel. And the way the camera was looking at him, it looked like he doesn't feel right. He's ill, is he? Finn saying he's ill. Right. He's got the shits, has he? That's not good, is it? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't have been injured if Angie hadn't played such a high line, bigger loss in the long run. I agree, mate. They've got players out. Isn't Romero out for our game as well? Akanji ate a dodgy Toblerone, section 20. Yeah, mate. What was I calling? I was calling the Swedes, wasn't I? Like 2 weeks ago. I mean, people nailed me for that. Like, come on, guys. Surely you can forgive me for that. It's in the name, Swedes, Swiss. It's forgive me. People genuinely thought that I thought a country in Switzerland was known as Swedes. Like, I'm not that stupid. I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid. Game is about to get underway. It's mad seeing Haaland on this pitch. It really is. What was the name of the last Champions League stadium City played at? It was the Wankdorf Stadium, Big M, just to be clear. The Wankdorf Stadium. Game's underway. Kickoff. Let's make sure the clock's working. It is working. John Stones immediately pointing back to Ederson. That's probably the first kickoff I've seen in about 30 games where we didn't go straight back to Ederson. And it went to Diaz, and Stones was like, what are you doing? Give it to Ederson. So that was odd. Normally we go straight back to Edison. And I feel like we do that just to see what the opposition are going to do. Like, ask, are they going to press? Are they going to sit at the halfway line? Or are they even going to start a low block? I think we like to do that to find out what they're going to do. But this is this is bad news. The fact that Akanji's gone off. Oh, Phil Foden's just been flattened right through the back of his Achilles. Referee's not giving it. What's he playing at there? Oh, he's springed back onto his feet. No problem. What was that, referee? That was a foul all day long. Game's he watching? It's not switched on yet. Phil Foden immediately flattened. I am. Gamification. I would love a Champions League. Here come young boys, though, whipping it in. John Stones cleared from the edge of the 6-yard box. Need a big game from Nunes and Kovacic today. Young boys offering a bit of a threat going forward here. Crossed in. Edison collects. No problem. But, yeah, James from Thailand. Little signpost. Anyone wondering, that's James. Haaland is playing. I'm happy for entertainment value. Tonight, I think we're going to see some goals because hopefully Haaland can get on the end of a few Grealish crosses or Foden crosses or whatever it may be. Get himself some goals. Climb the Champions League ranks as the Champions League goal scorer that he is. He could go on to be one of the all-time goal scorers ever, couldn't he, really? At this rate, the tempo of goals is ridiculous, isn't it? But yeah, I was going to say, I'm really worried about Kyle Walker playing in this game because he needs protecting. He is, the wrong side of 30. We've got Stamford Bridge coming up on Sunday. Clearly the intention was to rest him. And now he's been thrown in the deep end. Mentally, he wasn't prepared for this game because Akanji's walked off down the tunnel, 5-10 minutes before kickoff. All of a sudden, Kyle Walker's playing. He's got to mentally switch on. You've got to physically switch on. And I don't care what you say. If you're not mentally switched on, you are physically not switched on. It's hard to just get yourself. And that's how you get injuries because you're feeling a bit lackluster. It's a bit of a shock to the system. Oh, I'm playing. And I'm sure he was getting ready for a nice, cosy evening, sat on the bench with his nice, big, woolly jacket on. Rico Lewis fed in by Phil Foden down to the touchline. Rico Lewis in the penalty area, dinks it to the back edge of the area. Kovacic, edge of the area, dribbling, drifting in. Phil Foden dinks it back post over everybody's head, out for a goal kick. I don't, Jay's Killers. I'm surprised he's playing him. The alternative is Alvarez, who also needs a rest. So it was a case of picking your poison, wasn't it? Because I do think Alvarez has been playing a lot of minutes lately. He's dipped in form. I mean, I'm being really, really critical when I say that. But Alvarez has... he's not been at the heights that he was in the first 6 or 7 games of the season. He was really good. Everything, in terms of numbers, goals and assists. Lately, he's been quietly being okay. He's doing a difficult job in midfield. And it's harsh to expect him to be getting goals and assists when he's playing deeper. I know Kevin De Bruyne does it for a living, but he's found himself in a new position and he's doing really well. But I thought he could have been rested for this game, as well as Haaland. So it was a case of which one? Which one do you want to rest? There's Raphael Vicky, the young boys manager. I love their kit, by the way. Big fan of their kit. It's cool. I can't think of anyone who wears a kit similar to that. Little bumblebees flying about the place. Yeah, they're making a racket as well, Section 20. Making a bit of a racket. I do love these sort of, home European days where City fans they're not as loud as they normally would be, say, in the quarterfinals as the semi-finals. But these lower, the lesser away teams in Europe come and their fans, when they make a noise, they usually bring a drum, don't they? It's good to see. You find yourself going home with a beat in your head because they bang that drum the whole game. When I used to, obviously last season I was going to the games, and I remember every Champions League home game I was coming home with a dum 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 dum, like a beat in my head. Like, you can't shake it because they are incessantly going on, banging that drum throughout the whole game. Does your head in eventually. But City keeping the ball really well here, 5 minutes in. John Stones being a good little platform for everybody to play off. Kovacic and Núñez bouncing the ball off John Stones. Grealish down the left-hand side. Now he's beat his man. Cutting inside. Fortunately lands to Kovacic inside the area. Kovacic has a shot. Ricochets. Asking for a handball, but it would have been a handball in favour of Young Boys. Tucked into Grealish. Grealish is in. Grealish tucked it back. Rico Lewis cleared off the line. Oh, Benito with a clearance off the line. Rico Lewis anywhere else, and that's back of the net. Back of the net it should have been. Jack Grealish well onside as well. Found a nice little pocket of space. Composure. I mean, I'm surprised Jack Grealish didn't take the shot himself. But Rico Lewis there has got to finish that, surely. He doesn't get much behind it. Bit of a weak effort. I mean, 6 yards out? Side foot, cleared off the line. Sort of tried to pass it into the net. Got to drill that, and that's 1-0 City. But great play overall from City. Padder, Kane or Haaland? Mate, that's a tough question. It's corner to City. I'll answer it in a minute. As a goal scorer, just about Haaland. As an overall player, you can't really ignore Kane's ability. You know, Kane's incredible. But Jack Grealish's ball whipped in, but it's over everybody. Poor corner from Jack Grealish. But yeah, Kane is insane. Kyle Walker mopping up a liar, trying to beat him one-on-one, but Kyle Walker makes a mockery of that situation, to be honest. Makes it look easy. But yeah, there's the Young Boys fans. I can see what you're talking about, Section 20. There's a sea of yellow in the second tier. They're all wearing like yellow cagoules. You know, those like rain cagoules that you get if you sit like in the first 2 or 3 rows of a stadium that where the roof at a city you do, in the first 2 or 3, or used to anyway. The first 2 or 3 rows, if you're going to get rained on, they used to hand out these little yellow, or white normally, cagoules to protect you from the rain. And all the young Boys fans are all dressed in yellow cagoules. Lovely ball out to Phil Foden. Cushions it down brilliantly. Closed by Garcia though. Tucked back to Rico Lewis. John Stones getting further up the pitch as the game progresses. We're only 8 minutes in and John Stones is finding himself down the right wing at the minute. I feel a City goal coming here. We're playing good football. It's this assured, assertive, good football. Ruben Diaz is the deepest City player right now, and he's sat on the centre spot. Gvardiol, Kovacic, the Croats linking up. Kovacic gives it away, but he gets it back, fortunately. Into John Stones. Kyle Walker. Rico Lewis. Foden overlapping him. Really good football this at the minute. The Young Boys are chasing shadows. John Stones' shot. Deflected. Lands to Phil Foden's feet, though. Prevents him from going out for a corner. Crossed in. Cleared. Kyle Walker picks up the loose pieces into Núñez. I want to see a Núñez performance today. Núñez and Kovacic, those two need to perform today because there's no excuses. You know, Young Boys are the perfect opposition to gain some momentum, gain some confidence. You're against genuine lesser opposition. Núñez into Haaland. Haaland needs to turn around, go the other way, mate. Into Phil Foden. Haaland's pass was a little bit overhit there. I don't think he realised he could have turned there, Haaland. He was too busy getting involved in a physical battle. Hopefully, Big M. Hopefully. Kane has about 8 years experience on Haaland, says Jan. 100%. Absolutely. I do think they are slightly different players. There was glimpses of Harry Kane. Do you know it was Jose Mourinho when he dropped Kane into a deeper position, playing as more of a number 10, collecting the ball. That's when we all realised the footballer that Harry Kane is, not just a goal scorer. You know, what a good player he is. You know, spraying passes around. But, you know, we've got Haaland arguably now for Haaland's in here. He's in. Unbelievable defence. Oh, Ratchiopi with this. Oh, Haaland's just gone clattering into the advertising boardings there. Hopefully he's getting up. Doesn't seem bothered by it. Walker with a lovely little dink ball over the top. I wasn't expecting Haaland to get on the end of it. He chests it, gets it into his path, and with his right foot... Oh, that looks awkward, that. He's sliding down. Trying to see what he does there, but like, because the pitch is doing that a little bit at the end there. The momentum takes him into the advertising boarding. Haaland smacks the back of his head on the boardings, but it doesn't bother him. So yeah, his ankle seems fine. Moving about, no problem. Yeah, I agree, Buggan. There is potential. There's no reason why Haaland couldn't reach the levels of Harry Kane. You know, in terms of the years, the fact that he's how old is Haaland now? 20, what is he, 22, 23? And Harry Kane's obviously got plenty of years on him. Harry Kane wasn't doing what Erling Haaland is doing at the same age. When Harry Kane was the same age as Haaland is now, Harry Kane wasn't doing what Erling Haaland is doing. Some would say, well, yeah, he's not in as good a side. Spurs' side is like nowhere near as the level of this Manchester City side. But yeah, there's parts to Haaland's game that can definitely improve. Definitely improve. Every week, if you look at my my player ratings at the end of the game, the morning after, usually I do the player ratings, the passing accuracy of Erling Haaland is rarely in the 80s. You know, it's normally 70s, sometimes 60s. You know, Núñez bursting forward like no one's even there. Tries to feed in Haaland, overhits the pass out for a goal kick, but really good little run from Núñez. That just overhits the pass. But, yeah, he needs to work on a few things, Haaland. You know, passing accuracy is one of them. But he's the end of everything. He's not once been asked to drop deep. You know, come and collect the ball. That's not his game. He wants to be the end of the move, doesn't he? Not sure Jeff's in the chat. Wonder if Jeff will make it for the game. It's probably about 3 p.m. where he is. Is it? I don't know where... I do know where he is, actually. I'm not going to give you his address, but I sent him a City shirt, didn't I? To thank him for sorting me out with the 3 o'clock kickoffs. But here's Jack Grealish. Núñez, Kovacic, nice little 1-2. Núñez dinks it back post. Phil Foden with loads of space. He's got to nod it in. Ratchiop, he's going to collect that, and he does. I'm not sure he's in the chat, Big M. Everyone's missing Jeff. If I had his number, I'd ring him. Don't give a shit what time in the US it is. Where the hell are you, Jeff? What are you playing at? People are here waiting on you. Imagine that. Just disturbing him. 3 o'clock in the morning. Give him a call. Where the fuck are you, Jeff? Get out of bed. Come and watch City with us. But, yeah, it's all City so far. 76% possession so far. 4 attempts, 1 on target. 24% to them, 0 shots for them. Jack Grealish dinking it over the top to Núñez. Brings it down brilliantly. Oh, it sort of like lands on his head and sort of wears the ball as a hat for a couple of seconds. Didn't know where it was. John Stones into Kovacic. Haaland's come deep, just as I was saying. Oh, lovely ball by Haaland. Kovacic's brought down. Gotta be. Free kick on the edge of the area. What's this going to be, though, referee? It's got to be a yellow. Haaland's like, there you go. We were just talking about Harry Kane versus Erling Haaland, and Haaland comes and collects the ball and knocks a lovely little through ball into Kovacic. That was, you know, that's what we want to see. He can do it, can't he? He megs him as well, you know. He nutmegs the, I think it's Lauper who he nutmegs. Kovacic then nutmegs Benito. And he's brought down just on the edge of the area. Interesting to see if this is even in the area, because he's given a free kick. I need to get my old earphones in to find out what is going on here. How you doing, Mark? Good to see you, Tuner, as well. Prince Jabang. Yeah, drop a like on the stream if you could. It would be hugely appreciated. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rico Tuner. You know, I think arguably, he's hit the ground like faster than Phil Foden did. You know, considering that Rico Lewis is still 18, Phil Foden had way more competition in the position that he was trying to get onto the pitch and play. You know, he had Kevin De Bruyne, he had Leroy Sané, he had Raheem Sterling. If he was playing on the wing, he had those. In the middle, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. So much competition. Rico Lewis has less competition at that age, but he's done so well hitting the ground running. Free kick on the edge of the area, by the way. Wondering who's going to take this. This looks like a real, you know, this should be going in, like, get this on target, beat the wall, and Ratchiopi's got a save to make. Looks like Kyle Walker might be hitting this. Walker saved Ratchiopi. Phil Foden, rebound, saved again. Ratchiopi. Phil Foden, is he onside, though? He is. Phil Foden should have maybe gone a bit higher that with the rebound. Looking at this, he's onside. Just looks like he's onside. If he goes a bit higher with that, Phil Foden, if he tries and goes for the roof of the net, he hits it right back at Ratchiopi on the rebound. If he drills that into the roof of the net, it's 1-0 City. Corner from Nunes, whipped in. Oh, cleared really well. Yeah, big M, mate. Every City fan wants to see Ederson come out, don't they? You know, I'm not sure he'd actually play him, but, you know, give him a penalty or something. It's mad. We've got a taste for it, haven't we? Because we've seen it. City fans have seen these sort of radical goalkeeping situations. We've seen one player on the pitch playing goal right now. Kyle Walker's been a goalkeeper for us in recent history. As well as, I remember David James. Who remembers that? I was obviously at the game myself against Middlesbrough, fighting for a Europa League spot. Stuart Pearce. I've got an idea. I've got a great idea. I'm going to send David James, our goalkeeper, up front. Absolute lunacy. Great entertainment, but bordering on insanity. You know, you are a barn pot for thinking that. Like, there was no way that was going to turn out well. It was carnage. The guy just went up front and started booting people like they were footballs. He saw a human being and he just saw a football with legs and he whacked it. What a lovely ball from Kyle Walker over to Grealish. Brings it down beautifully. Jack Grealish twisting and turning. Got a point to prove, Jack Grealish, because he knows Jeremy Doku. Kovacic has been fouled again. Yeah, Jack Grealish has got a point to prove today, mainly because he's following in the footsteps of a player who got 4 assists and a goal at the weekend. So, but it's not like Jack Grealish has been playing badly. There you go, Jack Grealish winning the ball back really well. Gets back, then he's fouled. He's going to get a yellow, this player. Who is it? Jack Grealish was just absolutely nailed. Lauper. Jeff's in the chat. Boom. Everyone's been asking for you, mate. Everyone's like, oh, thank God. Fuck typical City. Who gives a shit? Jeff's in the chat. That's why we're here, mate. That's why we're here. Oh, serious business, Jeff. Mate, clients come first. Clients come first. So you're a one-on-one counsellor. That's interesting. That's cool. Foden. And John Stones finds himself down the right wing. He rushed across. Didn't need to take it as quickly as that. Ball comes back to him, though. Do you know what? Do you ever, like... It's interesting, isn't it, in psychology and counselling? Like, if you go into a one-on-one session, like, if someone's pouring their heart out to you, oh, Jack Grealish is giving it away. Aiton's one-on-one with Ruben Diaz, twisting, turning. Ruben Diaz with a vital toe. Gets his foot in just in time. Jack Grealish holds his hands up, as he should. Yeah, Jeff, if someone's spilling their guts out, and you know you've got an hour with someone, let's say your sessions are an hour and you're speaking one-on-one with someone who needs your help, and you as the counsellor, you see the hours passed on your clock, on your watch, what do? I presume you just go, sorry, I feel like it's a bit harsh to go, like, time's up, shh, stop crying, stop whinging, time's up. I presume, like, you allow it for, like, a couple more minutes and just let, like, fizzle out a little bit. It's mad, that, isn't it? But you know, you can't like keep going because there'll be people waiting for you. Like, you know, you'll have other clients that have got a certain time to get in as well. So it can't be easy. That can't be easy. Respect to what you do, Jeff. Núñez, man on. Into where Phil Foden's found a little pocket of space. Down to the byline, cut in. Rico Lewis asking for a handball there. Surely not. Young boy's bringing it away with ease. Looking for a counter-attack with a liar, but runs it out for a throw-in. Ade was going to ask about counselling Man United fans. Good to see Nobert in there as well. Hope you're doing well, mate. I didn't. What were they saying about Doku? Rico Lewis in the penalty area. Núñez turning. Penalty. Penalty. Penalty given. Núñez with a lovely little Cruyff turn. Twists. Turns himself. Receives a whack on the calf. Goes down. Penalty. Erling Haaland, you ready, mate? You ready? Yeah, penalty all day long. Is it Laupo brings him down? Looks like it is. He's on a yellow as well, mate. He's on a yellow card. Well, he's lucky he's there. It's not on the second yellow card. They've got a player, Kamara, who's on a yellow card as well. In terms of long-term suspension, the next game, which is against Red Star. Ugh, that was grim. Like the camera got really close to Erling Haaland then, and it like zoomed into his nostril just as he was closing the other one and sending like a barrage of snot out the other one. It like came at the screen. It's like 3D snot. Like, oh, Haaland, what are you doing, mate? I felt it hit me. Haaland with the penalty. Buried. 1-0 Manchester City. Easy as that. Makes it look easy, doesn't he? Makes it look easy. Even with the snot. Makes it look easy. Love it. 1-0. Kind of expected, really. Núñez with a clever bit of play earns that penalty. You know, sloppy from Lauper to even think that he should be sticking a foot out there. Lovely little young City fan there, being brought up well by his parents, celebrating with a little City scarf. Good to see. I feel like a hat-trick might be on the cards, Big M. Still red, aren't they? What is going on with these ears? Just keep glancing. It's like making me self-conscious. Like, Jesus Christ. It's the fact that they're big as well. The fact that they stick out and they're big. And now they're red. Could they make it any worse? Oh. "1-0 City. Need to change the score. Apologies." Boom. Let's get that on the board. No one needed to remind me. Although, please remind me if I forget. Because I will just... Well, I'll keep forgetting. I'll waffle on sometimes, don't I? Ratchiopi dilly-dallying with it. I thought Haaland was going to close him down there. Knocks it long to City, which is, you know, we're going to mop that up all day long. Back with Edison now. Drop a like on the stream, guys. Got nearly 150 in the building. Got 50 likes on the stream. If you could pop a like on the stream, it really does help. Núñez getting caught on the ball there. Kovacic and Núñez tackling each other, but wins the free kick. A little bit fortunate there, Núñez. Needs to be a little bit more controlled with his touch. A little bit of a heavy touch there. Was it really? Racial comments on Twitter for Doku. Nice. Disgusting. Sad, really, isn't it? Still live in this world where it needs to be, like... It's a shame, it really is. Long ball over the top, Ratchiopi comes out and collects it. It's just that they've got black players in their team. Good interception from Kovacic. Sloppy from City the last couple of minutes. Núñez there, Gvardiol giving it away before. Núñez before, Gvardiol just then giving it away. Grealish gave it away before. A little bit sloppy. What are your predictions for Chelsea at the weekend? Were you impressed watching Chelsea last night against Spurs? I wasn't that impressed at all. Gvardiol brings down a lovely long ball and he's done a little 1-2 with Grealish. Is he going to get it back? Grealish onto his right foot into the penalty area. Back to Núñez, keeping the ball sensibly. A little dink over the top, cleared. Phil Foden looking to nod it back in. It's intercepted. Garcia brings it away. Out to Alaya, counter-attack potentially. Alaya looking for Eaton, step over. Garcia's almost in his way, but Gvardiol's going to mop that up. But no, he doesn't. Alaya with a lovely burst of speed, beating Gvardiol. Gvardiol got his hands on him now. Now you're in trouble. I've got you in my grasp. I'm going to take this ball off you, and he knocks it out for a throw. And good tackle from Gvardiol. Little burst of speed from Alaya there. That was a little warning. Yeah, that's great, Jeff. Really good to hear that your son's doing all right. Great news. It's a little bit, a bit of pinball going on here. City struggling to get hold of the ball for the last couple of minutes. Kovacic does that, but he's surrounded by young boys players and then wins himself a free kick. Clever little bit of play from Kovacic. I have a good feeling. Every season that we've had a really good season, we've gone to Stamford Bridge and won. I remember that Kevin De Bruyne goal with his left foot in the purple kit, or like maroon purple kit. Do you remember that goal? Really good. I remember that game. And we went on to... was that our Centurion season? I can't remember if it was or not, but I remember that. That was a real moment, that was. Like, we are genuine, like, quality team that are going to go and win trophies this year. Really felt like a statement win, that did. And I feel like we can do it again this Sunday, And the difference is as well, I also wanted to highlight, because I was going on about it in the last game at the weekend. Haaland's brought through here. Burst of speed from Haaland. He's past Benito. Whipped it on. Oh, it's come back off Haaland. Going to go out for a goal kick. But the game against Bournemouth, I was talking about that game in terms of the order of events. Who's playing first in the game week, with Spurs playing Monday night. Arsenal playing in the evening after us and losing. Liverpool playing and drawing on Sunday. And the psychology behind playing first versus playing second or playing after the team that has won. I don't think it bothers City. It seems to bother our rivals way more than it bothers us. And we get to prove that this weekend, because we're the last game this weekend. Everyone else is playing first, so they all get a chance to drop us down the league table while we have to go away to Stamford Bridge with pressure on us. You're assuming they're going to go and win their games, and then the pressure's on. And if we go and prove another point, what a statement that'll be, is to watch everyone else climb above us in the league table, and then we get our top spot back by going away to Stamford Bridge and beating Chelsea. And it's not quite the Chelsea that it used to be, I understand that, but still, they can play, Chelsea. They can play at the minute. There were glimpses of quality in their football yesterday. Glimpses, small glimpses. But I think they were worse when they went down to 9 men. I think Chelsea played some decent football when they were against 10. But when they went down to 9 men, it was mental. Absolutely crazy. Like, they were just giving it offsides. Like, they showed so much, like, immaturity. And, like, they weren't, like, mentally stable, like, with their thinking. They were constantly being caught offside. And Jackson doesn't convince me. He got himself a hat-trick. It was probably one of the most unconvincing hat-tricks I've ever seen. And he should have got himself a fourth as well, and he ballooned that over the bar. I think that's the real Jackson that we've seen. Hopefully we can see something similar at the weekend, where he continues to batter it over the bar. But while I've been talking, City have been knocking it about nicely. Good bit of football from City, keeping the possession really well. Phil Foden down the right-hand side. Back to Kyle Walker. Half an hour gone. Yeah, it was. Wasn't it, Jeff? See. I hope you're right, Tuna. Do you reckon? That would be great, Section 20. Because who've Liverpool got this weekend? Who are you more worried about? Liverpool at home to Brentford. That's not easy. Not easy. As we found out last season, Brentford doing the bloody double over us. Like, what the hell? But yeah, Arsenal got to win that, surely. Home to Burnley. Beat them. But yeah, Section 20, you never know. 12:30 lunchtime kickoffs usually throw up a little bit of a surprise here and there, especially the fact that they've got to go to the Molineux Stadium, Spurs. And then Sunday, Liverpool at home to Brentford. And then we play Chelsea away, 4:30 UK time. Oh, Kovacic is giving it away again. Elias in. Ruben Diaz with a bone-crunching tackle. I love that. Love that from Ruben Diaz. Kovacic has been giving it away a couple of times. Nunes as well. He won the penalty, Nunes, but Kovacic is... He's done some good things, Kovacic, and then he's done some really sloppy things. Nunes as well. You know, some Kyle Walker now giving it away. Really sloppy. He comes back and wins the ball, but he's got a whack in the face in the process. Looks accidental. He's holding his tooth. He's been punched in the tooth. Oh, he's got an elbow right in the tooth. I agree mostly with what you're saying there, Jeff. The only thing that what you said there about you're not worried about anyone. Liverpool barely tied Luton. Agreed. Arsenal are not in their game. Agreed. Newcastle are hit and miss. Agreed. Spurs' honeymoon period is over. Maybe. The only thing the issue with Spurs is they came away with a feel-good factor, albeit they lost 4-1. They played quite well. You know, Haaland's been sent through. He's going to have to cross this instead, though. Crosses it in. Brought down. There was no one with him. Good little ball from Rico Lewis feeding Erling Haaland, but no one could catch up Erling Haaland, and then he crossed it to nobody. But yeah, Spurs losing 4-1 to Chelsea, I thought, you know, if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm feeling quite happy with the way that they played. There was elements to it that, you know, they a bit overly zealous with the tactics, thinking that they needed to strike a balance of, you know, not causing too much damage at one end, but trying to still create a threat at the other end. But it was such a fascinating game to consider. They're playing some really risky football, young boys here, but they've gone long in the end. Kovacic nods it. What's he doing there, Kovacic? Why is he nodding that back? He's not having a good game, Kovacic, right now. And I've been quite a big defender of him this season. I've seen a lot of City fans criticising him. And this performance so far is quite hard to defend, because he's given it away about 4 times now. Then just a long ball over the top from Ratchiopi. Kovacic had time and space. If anything, he could have brought it down or headed it forwards. Instead, he decides to head it backwards, and he heads it straight to Elia, who receives it and turns and starts sprinting at Ruben Diaz. I think he's nervous, you know. I feel like he's nervous because those first 6 games of the season when he was playing, nothing like this. He looked so composed. Haaland now, down the right wing. He's everywhere, Haaland, trying to get involved in as much as he can. Nunes coming down the right wing. Throw in. How bad is the Maddison injury, Scott? I haven't heard how serious it is, because that's big. That's really big. That's a massive blow. Van de Ven's, not great. I don't know how bad that injury is as well. Looks like a very good player, doesn't he? Big loss, but Maddison for me would be huge. I don't know how serious it is, though. Stones feeds in Nunes. Fouled again, but play on. Phil Foden down the right wing. Kyle Walker's joining him for the overlap. Gets it. Kyle Walker crossed. Haaland! Oh, he just couldn't connect with it properly. It looks like he cushioned it. He made the job easy for Ratchiopi. So it looks like he's hit like his calf or his thigh, and he's like, rather than getting any meaningful touch on it, he sort of cushions it for the goalkeeper to pick up. Oh, it took a little deflection. Unlucky. Good play, though, from City. Kyle Walker whipping it into a dangerous area. Deflection from Amenda. Lands onto Haaland's inner thigh. And that sort of softens the cross. And it kindly rolls to Ratchiopi. Which is a fantastic name, by the way, Ratchiopi. Not as good as Wankdorf. That's pretty good. Foul by Nunes there. He's fouled. What is it? Lauper has gone down. Niasse has gone down. Did anyone watch that that little Halloween video on the City website where they put a box and the camera and us as the audience can see what's inside the box, but they asked players to stick their hands into the hole and they couldn't see what's inside the box and they had to feel it. Nunes was fucking terrified of everything. He was the biggest pussy ever. Everything, he was oh. He literally stuck a finger in oh. He wouldn't. It was just like a wig or something like a pineapple. Not even something. Never. It was never anything scary, but he was terrified. Nunes of everything. I'm sure Ake was just yeah, what's that? What's that? Grabbing it and squidging it and wasn't scared of anything. But Nunes was terrified. I love that. City's little social media team are good now. They didn't used to be as good as they are now. It's a good little watch. 8 shots from City, 5 on target so far. 37 minutes in, 0 for Young Boys. Six weeks. I was going to say months would be brilliant, wouldn't it? 6 months. I hope you're right, Ade, because he's got a point to prove, and that point is getting bigger, and he's not proving it right now. He needs to start. Go back to simple things. If you're struggling for confidence as a midfielder, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Eradicate the mistakes. Just pass it simple. You don't have to go for the difficult ball. Control it and pass it. Keep it moving. And just build your confidence with steady Eddie football. You don't need to do silly things like nodding it back to Diaz. You don't need to do that. That was like trying to be clever. Just nod it back towards where it came from and hope that Haaland can pick up the loose pieces. That's better from Kovacic. A little sideways pass to John Stones, and now we've got a bit of space to work with. That's what you want. I think Nunes has got a little bit more of an advanced role than Kovacic has. Nunes just fell over his own feet there. There is a noticeable dip in the midfield, though, with Kovacic and Nunes playing together. And I'm hoping they're going to gain confidence, but you compare it to previous weeks where we've seen Alvarez and Foden and Bernardo Silva all drifting in that number 10 role, circuiting and cycling in that number 10 role. Against United, against Bournemouth, even Young Boys the previous week. Well, to be fair, Nunes and Kovacic played in that game. But they've dipped. It's a noticeable dip in quality in the middle of the park right now. I do think it's nerves as well. I don't think this is they're shit. I just think they're struggling with nerves, and they know that their threat's up for grabs. Alaya's got some space here down the right-hand side. The Young Boys coming forward, cleared by John Stones with a really good little header. That Grealish goes down, wins the free kick. Danger over. Yeah, that's a good point, Section 20. All of them, a lot of our players. The thing is, there's some players that turn up and they don't need that first season excuse. And I think it's because it tends to be the players that need to adapt to Erling Haaland. Not Erling Haaland, I'm about to talk about Erling Haaland, that's why he's on my mind. But talking about midfielders in particular, because Kovacic and Nunes and Rodri, those type of players. Jack Grealish has now got to learn that side of the Pep Guardiola methodology, his principles and the way he tries to apply his tactics. Kovacic and Núñez will never have seen anything like it. It's totally foreign to them. Jack Grealish going from a number 10 free spirit role in Aston Villa to being an out... lovely ball from... Núñez. Couldn't quite see it there. Phil Foden fed him in, a little bit overhit there by Phil Foden. But Jack Grealish now suddenly has to be a left winger, an incredibly rigid left winger. He's not allowed to come inside and drift with the ball and be a free spirit. He wants him to keep the width. All these lessons that need to be taught to these players. Bernardo Silva didn't have the greatest first season. He was okay, pretty decent, all right. I think people used to question Riyad Mahrez as well. But these type of players that are learning Pep's system, there are other players, two in particular, Jeremy Doku and Erling Haaland, that their talent, just their outright footballing ability, can sometimes overshadow their lack of tactical awareness in what Pep's asking. They're still having to learn what Pep's asking. Doku has to learn staying wide, just like Jack Grealish does. But his raw ability to just beat a player and smack it and get a goal or an assist, and Erling Haaland's just like outrageous fox in the box, and his mental ability to put himself in the right position and his just overall finishing ability, Pep can't teach that. Pep doesn't teach that. He doesn't go to training and tell Haaland how to finish. He doesn't tell Jeremy Doku how to do a step over and how to beat his fullback. He'll never do that. But that's what makes Doku look so good to City fans right now, and what makes Haaland look so good. So they don't need those first seasons to adapt to Manchester City and get used to the way of playing under Pep Guardiola, whereas the other players that are a little bit more that require tactics, they need the tactics to be understood for their own game, you know. And hopefully Kovacic and Núñez are in that exact bracket that I'm talking about. And next season we'll talk about what a signing Kovacic is and what a signing Núñez has been. There's no reason why that wouldn't happen, you know. We have to give them at least a season. So you're absolutely right, Section 20. Jeff with the 5, thank you very much, mate. Thank you, Jonny, and all of you for this great community. It's a joy to watch City with you all each week. Here's to many more this season. God bless. Jeff, mate, you're too nice. You're a lovely individual, Jeff. Such a decent bloke. Top man, Jeff. Rate Mahrez 1 to 10. Yeah, I agree, Big M. 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10. For me, it was his ability on the big occasion, you know, like pressure. You know, Champions League semi-finals. He would turn up, wouldn't he? He had this amazing ability. He didn't feel pressure. Foden's asking for a yellow card here. Kamara would be suspended for the next game if he gives it. And it should have been as well. He wrapped his arm around him, pulled him back. Anthony, do you ever interact with Lee Reacts, Lee Gunner? It is. I reckon you two would have an interesting chat. I don't, mate. No, I haven't spoke to anybody, really. I haven't done much in trying to speak to other people. I haven't really reached out to anybody. There is a couple of City people that I've reached out to that don't seem to want to work with me, and I'm not going to go into that too far, but they don't. I've reached out to them and then haven't heard back from them. I have spoke with Big Steve, because he's someone I would like to speak to, because he's top, isn't he? Big Steve, man. Can't go wrong with Big Steve. So, yeah, I'd love to talk to Big Steve. Both of us, well, I was previously a match goer. You know, we're both from the same era of shite that we had to watch in League One. I think we've got a lot to talk about, and I think a lot of people in the chat are from the same era as well. But yeah, no, I've not really reached out to anybody outside of the... I've been on the... I can't remember, Deluded Gooner. I went on his channel. He asked me to come on his channel to preview the Arsenal game. Spoke to him, but that was about it. I've had a Newcastle channel reach out to me, but they asked me too late, as well as another Arsenal channel that asked me. I've had about 3 or 4 ask me, and I've just been unavailable, which is really nice, and I like the idea that the other channels are reaching out to me. But yeah, call me antisocial, but I've not really spoke to anybody. But yeah, I don't know if I want to be... oh yeah, of course, I've been on City Extra as well. Of course, what am I talking about? Yeah, I've been on there multiple times. Yeah, big up to City Extra. They invited me on. That was good. Phil Foden. Beautiful goal from Phil Foden. Lovely footwork from Phil Foden down the right-hand side. Ah, you love it. Absolutely class from Phil Foden. Really good goal. There was a touch that kills the fullback. He receives the ball. The fullback commits. Phil Foden takes the most delicate little touch and knocks it past his fullback, and he's dead in the water. Leaves his fullback for dead. See you later, mate. In my dust. And don't underestimate this finish as well, because this finish is delightful from Phil Foden. Let's have a look if what went on here. It's that touch there. He takes a couple of touches, little touch, and then one little touch past Garcia, and it knocks it past him, and it kills him. That one there, I'm describing it like you, I'm presuming you're seeing it, but it's the final touch that beats Garcia and puts him into his path, and any sort of touch from Garcia, and it's a penalty. Doesn't bring him down, and Phil Foden guides it past Ratchiopi. Really easy. Haaland sliding in, trying to get himself another goal, because I bet you Haaland's coming off at half-time now. I wouldn't be surprised. If this turns into 3-0, I'm almost certain Haaland will come off at half-time. Which is why I think Haaland was stretching a leg out for it, because he might know that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's already been agreed. In fact, it's nearly half-time now, isn't it? What am I talking about? It should be half-time already. Right on half-time made it 2-0. I haven't watched much of Lee Gunner. Douglas saying I should speak to Lee Gunner as well. There's half time. 2-0 as well. Pop that on the score. Let me sort the time out. Swapping shirts, Erling Haaland already. So I think I might be right in saying Haaland's coming off at half time. Maybe, maybe not. But I haven't watched much of Lee Gunner. I've seen him a couple of times. I know who you're talking about. I've heard him talk a couple of times. He's the one with like the background, isn't he? Is he light blonde hair? Light blonde hair. Yeah, he seems all right. From what I've seen of him. Lee is on loan to City. You moderate for Lee, do you? Yeah, I might reach out to him, yeah. I think I saw him on It's LB. On LB's channel, it popped up. I think I saw him talk. That's where I started seeing him talk. Do you know what? I don't watch that many other YouTubers, in truth. That many. I watch a few. I don't watch that many. You know, I try and do my own thing. And then I've got like my own life to sort out after that. I'd love to sit and watch YouTube all day. I'd love to do that. But I can't do that, unfortunately. In answer to your question, Padder, that's why I can't do it, because I do have kids. I've got two. I've got a little boy, 6-year-old, and a little girl who's very nearly 6 months old. She's a little superstar. City Extra is great. Yeah, really enjoyed my time speaking with Hugh. Hugh's underrated. I quite like Hugh. I've seen him get a bit of stick, Hugh, which I don't think's fair on City Extra. But I do like what Hugh's got to say. JP just seems like a very, very likeable person. But yeah, no, I haven't really spoke to any other City content creators. Had a little chat with Big Steve. He knew of me before I mentioned him, actually, which is I take that as a compliment, that he was meaning to message me before I messaged him. So it was just a case of, and we said, like, we'll sort something out in the future. But following that, he's now gone on to City's media team and doing his own thing. He's got his show on the City Extra thing, so I think he's a busy man. But I'll try and speak to Big Steve and do like some sort of duo sort of talk, like just one episode or something, one video of something with him. Lee Gunner's an old school Arsenal fan. He has been on loan to City for a while. What do you mean he's on loan to City? Was he a closet City fan? Rate Doku 1 to 10 at the moment. Oh, at the moment, I'd say 8 out of 10. Last week Bournemouth, it's like I gave him a 9.5. So that performance was a 9.5. But overall, I'd give him an 8 out of 10. Well, that's all right then, isn't it? Anyone who bigs up City and doesn't shit all over us. Do you know what? I'm not afraid to stick the knife in opposition fans, and if you're, there's probably you would probably get entertained actually thinking about it. If I got some, rather than, you'd be better off hearing me speak to other people that aren't like Lee Gunner, because if I have a pragmatic conversation, you've heard me talk pragmatically and rationally with fans who are sensible and willing to talk about the game. But there are times where I have quite a good time talking to those fans that are just like, they want to have a go at you and stick the knife in. And they usually aren't the wisest individuals when it comes to talking about football as well. I love talking to those guys as well. I love ripping them a new arsehole, basically. That's what I enjoy doing. And you've not seen that side to me yet, sticking up for City against people who are trying to hurt City. And that's when I'll show my claws. I'll show my claws, and you haven't seen that yet. And that'll be a day on the horizon one day. But motto of being a fan equals don't be a knob. That's fair enough, Eric. That's all it takes to be friends with fans of other teams. That's it. Absolutely. If you approach me rationally, you'll get a rational conversation back. If you approach me like a knob, I will be a knob back. It's fair enough, isn't it? It's fair enough. But you do meet them, don't you? You meet some mad bastards in the world. Especially when you're on holiday. I met some Napoli fans. You're just talking about like stabbing and stuff like that. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, some dark, like, I was in a club in Ibiza with my mates. And these couple of Italians came over and in the smoking area and started talking to me. And I was like, where you from? And I was like, Manchester, mate. And he was like, oh, yeah, United? And I was like, no, I'm not. As they all do. They tend not to do that nowadays, but this was in like, I think it was about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. So City definitely weren't as big as United back then. But they were like, where are you from? And I'm Manchester. So they immediately assumed United back then. And I was like, no, I'm City. I'm proud of it, mate. And they were like, oh, okay, like that. And they were like, I stab United fans like that, and I was like, "Oh, do you? Is that what you do? You stab? You seem quite proud of that. Like, you sad little shit. Like, I mean, come on, mate. Like, honestly, there's some sad bastards in there, and it's you know what? I'm joking about it now, but they're the type of people that, what happened with the Leeds fans in Turkey and things like that, and people actually getting stabbed. It's fucking wrong, man. Football shouldn't come to this. It's wrong. I've taken it way beyond being a knob right now. Talking and arguing is one level, but getting into violence and stabbing people, like, what? But yeah, I'll always remember that conversation. Just like thought some nice little Napoli fans coming over to have a little chat with me, talking about stabbing. I think I know who you're talking. Is it a Liverpool fan? There's a Liverpool streamer, Hussam, trash talk City all the time. Is he the one that Big Steve went mental at? Because I saw Big Steve have a go at him, telling him, get this fucking idiot off the stream. And Big Steve like nailed him. Like, it was good to see. And he went crawled back under the rock, didn't he? He was giving it large about fans and stuff like that. City have no fans. As soon as you hear City have no fans, and you know straight away that fan that's saying that, they don't know what they're talking about. They're immediately like, oh, you're one of them, are you? City have no fans. And you know you're immediately entering into a low IQ. Sorry, I just thought my little boy was about to walk into the room then. Heard the door go, and I think he heard me talking, but you'll have to meet him one day. But yeah, talking about low IQ football fans and, like, when they immediately say City have no fans, that's when you know you're entering into a low IQ football conversation. And you might as well walk away. If you want to respect yourself and not have a conversation like that, you might as well walk away, because they're idiots. Yeah, I had an Italian friend who used to refer to United as Manchester. Yeah, it's offensive, isn't it? How many taxi rides have you gone in abroad as City fans nowadays you go in, they tend to ask, are you City or United? They ask, don't they? They're well aware of us now. But 10 years ago, it used to be like, yeah, United, no, I'm not, and it used to offend me really badly, like, and it used to hurt my feelings a little bit, like, no, I'm not United. I might have red ears, but I'm not a United fan. Walk away from knobheads. Yeah, to an extent, yeah. Completely forgot we were playing. How have we played? Yeah, I'm talking nonsense, aren't I? Because the game's been a bit of a lacklustre game in terms of real stuff to talk about. We've played okay, Ryan. A little bit sloppy in certain aspects with Kovacic and Nunes. I want to see something a little bit more crisp with the ball because they've been a little bit sloppy on it. Grealish has also been a little bit sloppy with one in particular, one pass that he gave away. But other than that, it's been assured. I think there's, on another day, Kovacic and Nunes getting caught on the ball and giving it away to the extent they have in that first half, we'd probably be on the receiving end of a couple of shots that Ederson has to deal with or the defence has to deal with one way or another. But it's not been like, oh my God, Kovacic is a joke, Nunes is a joke. It's not like let's all get on their back. It's just noticeable. It's noticeable that they've been giving it away. If it's noticeable, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to mention it. But they need our support, those two players. They're new City players. They're finding their feet. They're getting used to the idea of playing in Pep Guardiola's side. And it'll take time. The second half's about to get underway. And I'm bursting for a pee. So I do apologise. Has Jonny had to do many Wankdorf shots? Muddy Duck, that was you. I've already spoken about it, mate. And I'm hoping everyone's shit-faced already for the amount of times I've said Wankdorf. So here's two more. Wankdorf. Go and get yourself a couple of shots. Muddy Duck. Right, I'm going for a pee. Be back in a sec. Right, I'm back. That's good. Jonny going for a wank door. That did make me chuckle. Yeah, I agree, Eric. I'm not even going to address it. That's just a thing that exists now in the live stream because I had to do something because I know how frequently I need a pee at half time. Like, I've not even been drinking that much. How many times have you seen me reach for my water? Yeah, here I am. I've got the bladder of a 4-year-old man, so I have to. I did. A little bit rushed, I must admit. Minimal amount of soap, but I did. The missus gets annoyed when I'm in a rush, and I wash my hands. I'm like, they're still wet now. I'm just like wiping my hands on my jeans. Let's go into more detail about my toilet habits. That's what you're all here for. My toilet habits. Let's go into every little nitty-gritty detail. Yeah, predictions for the second half, Blues. Do you think Haaland is going to start? I actually want to see him rested. I really want to see him rested. Just hearing about Haaland right now, sorry. Just watching the shirt exchange. Something happened here with Haaland and Kamara. Haaland says you cannot do this to Kamara, and now they're speculating what that could be. I can see Nathan Ake warming up. He's got his shirt on. He's coming on by the looks of it. There's Nathan Ake. Just looking at the tunnel, and then it's cut short. Anthony, get yourself a fancy piss bucket. New levels to live streaming. I thought about it. You know, I thought about, like, what if I just went off camera and peed in a bottle? Like, can't be doing that. So who's off then? Nathan Ake is on, but for who? John Stones is off. I'm glad about that. Yeah, hopefully that's not an injury. Presumably that's resting him because he's definitely going to be playing against Chelsea. Second half's about to get underway. Let's all stop talking about me pissing because it's getting a little bit too close to home. Second half underway. Let's go, Blues. Let's finish them off. Get ourselves into the Champions League knockout stages. I think he is Tuna. I imagine it's precautionary, but you just never know with John Stones. I remember Juan Malilo talking about John Stones like, oh, he's nearly ready. A month later, he hadn't played a single minute of football yet. That's not nearly. You know, like 4 weeks of football had gone past and he wasn't. It must have been a new injury. John Stones picks up these niggly little injuries, doesn't he? And it's terrible. Like, it really kills us. It's not his fault. Obviously, I'm not having a go at him. I'm just saying it's like frustrating because we need him on that pitch. Walker with a long ball over the top for Haaland to chase. I'm almost certain the second this goes to 3-0, Haaland comes off. Prime, Zlatan, Padder. Suarez was pretty decent though, wasn't he? It was short-lived. His prime wasn't as long as Zlatan's prime. Roger, good to see you, buddy. And I appreciate the support as well. Yeah, please do drop the like. A like onto the stream. Here's Núñez. Big pocket of space to burst into. Rico Lewis, underlap. Phil Foden, overlap. Núñez goes himself. What's he done there? Has he tried to, guide it with the outside of his foot? I'm hoping that's a corner. It's not. Which looks like a bit of a whiffer. Tries to, curl it with the outside of his boot. Similar to Kevin De Bruyne, the way he finished it against Bournemouth last season. If you remember our first home game of the season, last season, at home to Bournemouth, Kevin De Bruyne with the outside of his foot, he'd cushioned it into that far left corner along the floor. Núñez tries the same thing then, but gets it horribly wrong and goes well wide. Cheers, Roger. I really appreciate that, mate. Lauper bringing it forward. Kovacic grabs him, but lets go just at the right time to not give away a foul. Garcia bringing it forward onto his left-hand side. Crossed in. Diaz cleared. Núñez knocks it into the air. Walker nods it away. Back to Núñez. Núñez trying to bring it down and gets it back to Walker again. Walker, nice little Cruyff turn. Sends Lauper for a hot dog. Nederson right down the middle to Nathan Ake. Tries to bring it down. Back with Racioppi, though. I want to see a bit more from Jack Grealish in this half as well. because he's not really done much. Yeah, I felt for him, Muddy Duck, at the weekend. Do you know what? I felt for him to a small degree. I still wanted Bernardo Silva's goal against Bournemouth at the weekend to be Bernardo Silva's goal just because of how good it was. Kovacic with a lovely... Oh, he just overhits it. Saw the channel to Haaland, just needed to be a little bit lighter with the pass there, and Haaland was in. But a good little move from Kovacic, in fairness. He beats his player and then just sees Haaland ahead of him and tries to feed it through to him, but overhits it. But still, I like the attitude. That was good. I'd rather see that than, just really overhitting it and not doing anything purposeful with it. At least he beat a player and tried to do the right thing. You can never be criticised too much for trying the right thing. It's when you try the wrong thing and then get it wrong as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like you shouldn't even attempt certain things. And if you do, you make sure you get it right. Like first half, nodding it back to Ruben Diaz, not knowing who's there, and just nodding it back. That was aimless, and it landed to a liar. Things like that. Eradicate those sort of mistakes. But I think Pep will also echo those exact thoughts as well. Pep will always say, you always see him, don't you? Players giving it away, and Pep always like, yeah, good, like doing that to Edison, like he's booted it out for a throw-in, but he's doing that at him. He's like, no, that was good. You tried the right thing. It's not the pass that I'm having a go at you. I don't want to be annoyed at you for overhitting it, because that happens. Every football player does that every now and again. No one can consistently pass it 100% of the time perfectly. You do make mistakes. It's when you try the wrong thing that Pep gets annoyed with. And I think Kovacic has been doing a couple of really good things and then odd things in this game, where it's like, why are you even trying that? Kovacic leaves it for Haaland. Haaland drills it! What a finish from Erling Haaland. Edge of the area. Smashes it. Outside of the area, another absolute rocket. Rifles it in. Kovacic leaves it for Erling Haaland, who drills it with his left foot. Top right-hand corner. Another sublime finish from Erling Haaland. Outside of the area as well. Lovely goal. 3-0. Game over. Done and dusted. You're getting every other word. Is it lagging again? I can't be doing with it more lagging. Surely hopefully it's YouTube again. Let's have another look at this goal though. Is it working okay? I'm hoping. I can't spend all stream looking like last time, but that finish is just a joke. Erling Haaland, absolutely. It's like a thunderbolt. It was like a rocket off his left boot. Hit it just pure and sweet. Curls it into that far corner. Difficult technique because it's going away from goal. Pep looks surprised. You can see it in his face. Good. He came to us from Germany. He's here to win the Champions League. Haaland. Yeah, what a tap-in that was, Tuna. Absolute, yeah, good. I'm glad it's working for you guys as well. Swear to God, it feels like it's only me sometimes who just like stutters and lags. But Nathan Ake. Oh, red card, popping out Lauper. Silly sausage. You silly Swiss sausage. Didn't see what happened. Too busy looking at the chat, but Lauper's quickly and swiftly received a second yellow card. And he walks off the pitch. Doesn't even argue, so I'm assuming that's a given. I think he's gone through Nathan Ake. Let's have another look. Oh, it's almost a straight red. Nathan Ake's been clobbered. Hopefully Big M. City players look livid. They're not even that bothered about it being a red card. They're more bothered about Nathan Ake, which is what you do for your colleague. You work with this guy 6 days a week. He's your mate, and you've just seen someone come through the back of him and crunch one of his legs. So, of course, you kick off and get involved and look if he's all right. But luckily, Nathan Ake is up on his feet, walking around, no problem. And young boys are down to 10 men, about to get a spanking. Come on, City. Let's get this goal difference up. Nathan Ake with a big tackle there. It's a foul, apparently. He came on for Stones, G. Oh, Rico Lewis, strong. It's not a foul, ref. Oh, why is he shoving him now? He's going for the ball, you knobhead. Kamara pushing Rico Lewis for trying to tackle him. He does seem to be targeted, doesn't he? He was talking about it in his pre-match interview, wasn't he? Saying he doesn't mind it. But why do they pick on Rico Lewis? He's trying to win the ball. I love that. Rico Lewis turns round and this giant Kamara's there and he's just like looking up at Kamara. Doesn't care. Squares up to him. He's like squaring up to his belly button like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, Kamara's just like looking down at him. I love him. He's a little terrier, isn't he? Rico Lewis. Don't give a shit how big you are. He'll have a pop at you. Is that right? Sub 2. Good to see you in the chat, by the way, Sub 2. Haven't said hi to you, mate. Hope you're doing well. 2 red cards in a week. I'm surely they would have said that in my ear, but I didn't hear it. No way. Having a bit of a mare at the minute. Lauper. Blessed Boboland going for 5-0. I know you want to see entertainment, but I think we should just knock it about now. And we'll probably score by doing that. I just don't think we should expend too much energy on this game now. It's game management now. The game's done. There's no way they're winning this game or even getting a draw in this situation. Even with 11 men, 3-0, it's game over. 10 men, 3-0, knock it about. Knock it about. Have a bit of fun. Enjoy yourselves. Keep yourselves fit. Don't get involved in tussles. And just make sure you're fit for Sunday. Kovacic, edge of the area. Back to Ake. Nunes. Lovely ball. Rico Lewis with space. Haaland. Cut it back. Grealish. Straight down the throat of Ratchiopi. That was the goal I was looking for to get my prediction right. Grealish goal 4-0. That's what I've called. I think it's going to be more than 4-0 at this rate. What else is going on? Calvin Phillips is coming on. Do you know what? Haaland in the area. Oh, he's shepherded out. What's going on in the Champions League then? I haven't looked at any of the other scores. Dortmund beat Newcastle. I didn't know that because I've been taking my lad to football training. So as soon as that was finished, I was came straight here after football training to start the stream. So I completely missed all the other early Champions League games. But there's not much else going on at the minute, is there, in terms of anything like English Premier League wise? Shakhtar beat Barcelona. This is all news to me, this. Milan beating PSG. Atletico Madrid 2-0 up against Celtic. Red card to Celtic. Porto 1-0 up against Antwerp. Also down to 10 men, Antwerp. And Lazio beating Feyenoord 1-0. And RB Leipzig 1-0 up against Red Star, which is something we need to be mindful of, be aware of that situation. Because it's going to be a fight for first place, isn't it, with RB Leipzig now? The fact that we've gone there and already beat them it was the first stepping stone to dominating this group. What's the history on teams that have won every single group game? I'm sure there's been a few that have done it already, but I kind of want to be one of them now. Because we throw up a few random games, don't we? In Champions League history, we've thrown up a few random games in group stages where it's like, oh, that was a weird draw. How did we draw that game? You know, like Copenhagen last season. And like we've had some mad results. Foden bursting in, drills it, saved by Ratchiopi. Foden's on fire at the minute, playing really well. Am I raising my kids as City fans? Well, my lad's a City fan. What the issue is with the missus, hang on a minute, just let you know the substitutions coming on. Oscar Bob and Calvin Phillips coming on for Kyle Walker. And I'd imagine Erling Haaland. Well, it's Erling Haaland coming off. Yeah, we spoke about that. The missus obviously wanted Harry to be a United fan. I obviously wanted him to be a City fan, so we just let him decide. And the current climate of football in Manchester is fairly one-sided, and he's a big fan of winning at the minute, as most 6-year-olds are. He tends to pick the winning side. So, kind of worked in my favour. Like, plus, I go on about City all the time. I live and breathe City. Charlotte's a massive, massive United fan. She's a big and a proper one. She's a season ticket holder at Old Trafford, so she's not one of these part-timers. But, she comes away from football and she forgets about it. When it's match day, she thinks about it and goes to the game and enjoys it. After match day, she forgets about it and gets on with her life. Like most people should, in fairness to her. That's the normal way to live. But us lot, we're obsessed, and aren't we? We live and breathe, and we spend our whole every second watching and thinking about football. But Gvardiol's twisting a penalty in the penalty area from a corner that seemed to be like so poorly defended. Gvardiol with a lovely bit of skill there onto his left foot, tries to volley it, but blocked eventually. Aiton sprinting. Calvin Phillips getting back. One-on-one with Aiton. Looking to stand him up. Elias overlapping him. Received it. Still one-on-one with Calvin Phillips. Good bit of shepherding play. And he slipped. And here comes Oscar Bob. Bursting through. No one with him. Oscar Bob, you're on your own, mate. And he's been tackled. Was 3-on-1 in fairness to him. Don't worry about it, Cortez. Where are you based? Are you Argentina? If I remember rightly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, don't blame you, mate. Don't blame you. Oh, you're in the US. Sorry, mate. Try to remember everything about everyone as much as I can, but it's not easy. Of course, we've got Chelsea next this Sunday. And then Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis is in. Byline penalty, another penalty. Another penalty. Goal kick. Rico Lewis should probably have crossed that a little bit earlier there. He was in. That's a penalty. Soft, but he steps over him. He steps over his path, and he does go down easily, in fairness. No, play on. Yeah, mate, I didn't have a choice. All over it travels. My dad would have killed me if I was a Man United fan, mate. I didn't have a choice. Foden, edge of the area, he's going to shoot. Blocked by Kamara. Alaya looking for... Gvardiol gets back really well. Gets it all the way back to Ederson. Yeah, I didn't have a choice. I remember when I was about 7 or 8 years old and going to school. The game's been stopped. I thought it would have been. There's a flare on the pitch. A blue flare. Which is a bit annoying. But yeah, when I was about 7 or 8 years old, even maybe a bit older actually, more like 9 or 10, and I went to school, and it was the day after United had won the treble in 1999, and I remember I had a childminders because my parents used to drop me off at a childminders at like 8 o'clock in the morning because they needed to get to work early, and that childminder would take us to school, which is only up the road. But I remember a group of United fans just waiting down this, not in a nasty way. It sounds like an old stereotypical bully scenario, but there was like about 8 or 9 United fans waiting down an alleyway, but this alleyway that led to the school that I went to, and they all just waited for me. And so they could all like jump on me in not a nasty way, not too harsh, but still like get you in a headlock and give you one of them, sort of like give you a nuggie and things like that, and rub your hair and go, you're 1999 treble winners. You'll never do that while we were in Division 2. I remember that, and I remember how shit it felt, and I remember how many times that we used to get beat like 5-0 with like Andy Cole scoring a hat-trick at Old Trafford, and like multiple situations where United were just battering us. And I remember one night, just I was sick of it. Because I'm a kid at this age. I was like 9 or 10 years old. And I remember my dad tucking me in to bed. And I remember saying to him, Dad, come on. When I'm older, I didn't even say United. I remember not saying United. I said, Dad, when I'm older, can I support who I want? I remember asking him that. And he was just tucking me in, and I remember him walking to the door, to my bedroom door, and he was walking away like that. And I just remember him hearing that, going, can I support who I want? And he just went, and I'll never forget that look. The look that he gave me was just like, his face went dead. He just looked at me. No. Just absolute no, like that. And then I remember just thinking, like, oh, okay. Like, I just sat there like that, and I just tried to go to sleep after that. 5 minutes later, I obviously hadn't gone to sleep. He comes back in, sits next to me on the bed, and says, son, I promise you, one day you'll get to laugh at them. We'll be big again one day. Complete luck. He didn't know what he was saying. He was saying it so I would still be a City fan. But I remember, Sheikh Mansour sorted that out for him, no problem. But I remember that moment, and from that moment I knew I had to be a City fan. Thank God, I stuck with him. Not like I had a choice, but still, big up to my dad for being so assertive with his parenting style. Taking a little boy to watch City lose to York, it's bordering on child cruelty, that, isn't it? To be honest, like, what are you doing, Dad? Taking me to watch York and shite like that, like. But yeah, that was a good story. But here we are, 3-0 up in the Champions League. Currently, Champions League holders, current Premier League holders, and current FA Cup holders. So, cheers, Dad. Nice one. He's at the game now as well, so I never tell him things like this. I should do, be a bit nicer in person, but like sometimes you're nicer to people. You're not as nice to the people that you love and you're close to as you should be. You're nicer to strangers sometimes than you are to your own family. And I never tell him that moment. I've never spoke to him about it or anything like that. But stuck with me. Free kick on the edge of, the side of the area. Oh, still around the edge. Grealish standing above it, 68 minutes in. Dangerous, this. To be honest, if you're Grealish, you're going for a shot here, and any sort of deflection, this is going to end up in the back of the net. Grealish having a little bit of a chuckle. Don't know what at. Foden steps over. Grealish shot. Deflect. Oh, it's not. Sort of Calvin Phillips sort of blocked it by the looks of it. I think he tried to let it go through his legs. Throw into City, back down towards the halfway line though. I remember Section 20 there saying Atletico 4-0 up against Celtic. They've always considered themselves like... I've got no problem with Celtic or Rangers, but I remember there was always that thing like, oh, they should be in the Premier League. You know, they're too good for the Scottish League. They should be in our Premier League. And people used to claim that they'd do well. I think they could arguably get relegated. You know, I really do. You think like they'd be fighting in that situation. They'd be in the bottom six. I think they'd be fighting in those situations. Calvin Phillips with a lovely turn. Drills it. Oh, Calvin Phillips. Oh, I'd have loved it if that had gone in. Yeah, I haven't got anything against Celtic or Rangers. I just think they're well off it. Short corner was taken quickly. Núñez. Twisting, turning. Good bit of run. Good run. Lazing Jack Grealish. Grealish drills it and he's blocked it. Or, I say blocked it. He's bollocked it with his bollocks. This looks like a... Chaiwa has come on. Couldn't make out who it was there, but he's received one right in the testicles off Jack Grealish, who's showing no sympathy whatsoever. Let's have another look at this. Oh, it's like they were floating in the air a little bit. Do you know what I mean? They weren't like protected in any way. Just like lifted himself, so they'd elevated a little bit and. Bang! Jack Grealish. He's been wanked off. Absolutely muddy dog. Wank that. Boom. Copenhagen versus Man United tomorrow night. It's mad that they're in a fight like that to save their Champions League future against Copenhagen. Air United. Do you reckon? I think you're being too complimentary there, Addy. I think Crystal Palace would batter Celtic and Rangers. Maybe not batter, but I think they'd beat them. I think they would. I mean, you see it now. Even the gap in the Championship is like not that big. When they come up, a lot of teams like they do okay. I know Luton are struggling, but they took a point off bloody Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are teams that come up and surprise everybody. I think the English pyramid is incredible. It really is. There's no pyramid in the world. Like people compare leagues like the Premier League versus La Liga or the Bundesliga and things like that. People compare the leagues, but if you want to debate that, I personally think the Premier League is the best league in the world. I think most would agree with that. But there is no debate in the pyramid, you know, from top to bottom, like all the divisions, the conferences, the national conferences, and like it's insane. It really is. And the attention that they get down there, like obviously Wrexham doing what they did, it was purely because of their ownership model, with Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney taking over Wrexham and beating Notts County. But the fact that they get all that attention is pretty impressive, isn't it? Like all the way down there. And people were tuning in all over the world to watch it. City dominating the ball. I'm surprised we've not made this 4 or 5 yet. We haven't really created that many chances. But here's one. Rico Lewis is in. Twisting, turning. Rico Lewis has got to shoot. Kovacic pulled it wide. Rico Lewis with a really good run. Intricate play with Phil Foden. Lovely little laid through by Phil Foden into Rico Lewis's path. Sort of smashes his way through. He rides a couple of tackles after... Núñez swiped and missed it. He's injured, Núñez, and Kovacic drags his shot really far wide as well. You're hoping Núñez's injury isn't as serious as the way he's writhing around in pain suggests. I think you're right, Douglas. They are lacking money, but that doesn't make them good, and I sympathise with them. The fact that they clearly they can't compete financially with the Premier League, but I think that goes for every European league. There's no one who can compete with the Premier League right now, and it's why Real Madrid and Barca and Juve were all trying to create the European Super League, because they want a piece of this pie. They recognise that there's even more money to be had by creating a Super League, which is disgusting, to try and uproot the game that we all love. Jack Grealish down the left-hand side. Good bit of play. Phil Foden, edge of the area, volleys it well over the bar. But that Super League situation, I'm so gutted that City got involved in that. You know, it really bothered me that we decided to... It does feel like we got involved as like, we don't want to miss out. You know, if this becomes a thing, I think all the people behind it seem to be the American contingencies, the Glazers and co. Were all involved heavily in that, in deciding to create a Super League. But the fact that we got involved was a bit gutting. But we were the first to leave, don't forget. And I don't think any of them were expecting the fans' backlash, which is another little clue as to how little they understand about the English game, and how fans are addicted to their football clubs. They are obsessed with their football clubs, and they follow them loyally. And you can't just take us overseas and expect us to be okay with that. And, you know, they can't do that. You know, I understand there's money involved, and it would probably benefit the clubs financially. But who wants to watch, with all due respect to any Americans that are watching, a lot of the American sports now have no jeopardy. You know, there's no relegation. There's no, loss. That jeopardy is the key word. I love the fact that relegation's involved. Obviously, City are involved in the other end of things, winning things. And, you know, but to not have relegation is that's a key part. Phillips feeds in Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob, Phil Foden, tackled by Kamara. Not entirely cleared, though, by young boys. Nunes tackles the ball back, wins it back in the penalty area, goes back to Calvin Phillips. The game's momentum seems to have spiked a little bit. City looking for a fourth. Jack Grealish getting manhandled here, and he's just received a whack on his heel here. What's gone on? Jack Grealish holding his ankle here. It's got to be a yellow card, surely. It's a yellow card being handed out here. It's Amanda. The Americans want to remove 3 p.m. Saturday ban as they see a money earner. I wouldn't be surprised to hear plans for playing Premier League games abroad, like American football playing games in London. I felt for the NFL fans when we got that game. I'm not a big NFL guy. I don't know much about it at all. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I know that they had the NFL played at Wembley a couple of times. I immediately felt for the American fans. Well, especially the real loyal ones of whatever teams it was that go home and away. And I mean, when you say away, an away day in England, you know, your worst drive's going to be like 6 hours. You know, if you're going from top of the UK to the bottom, 6.5, maybe 7 hours at worst. You know, an away day in America is like a day. Like some of these places they've got to go, you know, it's like an absolute trek. You need to sleep over halfway there. Insane. So that's commitment. But to ask them to we're going to London, I feel harsh. And I don't ever want that to happen to the Premier League. With all due respect to any overseas fans that are watching it, I'm sure you'd love for it to come to your country one day so you could sit and watch a game. I fully understand that. But it's been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. You can't just change that. You know, for money as well. That's what's a sickener. And it becomes the fan, that basically sends the message, the fans don't matter. And that's terrible. Really is. It's getting quite aggressive, this game, at the minute. There's a lot of nasty tackles going in. Jeremy Doku's coming onto the pitch. Doku! Yeah, with what you were saying, Jan, about 3 o'clock kickoffs, I kind of, from my personal point of view, would like to see the 3 o'clock ban removed, because I know why they do it. Hang on a minute. Ruben Diaz, lovely little dink in, cleared by Benito. Jack Grealish was in the middle waiting. Sort of ball that Haaland would gobble up, but he's not on the pitch. That's odd, isn't it, Jeff? American sports, you have away fans and home fans all sitting together. Do they not kick off? I mean, you see it every week, like an away fan sneaking into the home end, and then they score a goal, and they go, and they like try and hide their emotions, and they just like it seeps out. They can't hide the fact that they've just seen their team score, and they go, and they try keep, and then someone hears it, and all these fans go and look at you like you shouldn't be here, and they get them kicked out. It either starts a fight or they get kicked out, one way or the other. The only teams that I think is Liverpool and Everton. They seem to actually like each other on Derby Day. I've seen them sit together numerous times, which is odd. But Liverpool as a community, lovely little ball in. Calvin Phillips tries to nod it in, but Liverpool as a community they want to be their own thing. Anyone who's not unaware, they consider themselves not part of the UK, so it's unbelievable, really is. The reasons why go back to the World War, where Liverpool didn't receive the amount of support that they believed they were deserving of from the government, and they left them a little bit in the lurch. And the whole Manchester-Liverpool rivalry goes back to the River Mersey, where we cottoned on. Hang on a minute, young boys are in with 10 men. Rico Lewis is back. Diaz is back. Good bit of defending by Rico Lewis. Jack Grealish finishes it off, but it goes back to the shipping days of Liverpool having the shipping trade, and then how Manchester attached a river to their trade lines, basically, and made a lot of money doing that. Doku in the middle, and he's back. Nunes missed a sitter by the looks of it. It looks like this cross takes about 2 or 3 deflections on its way through, but Doku feeding it through Nunes' back post. Looks like he could have done better. We'll have to see on the replay. Doku onto his right foot. Jack Grealish is deflected, and it was like 2 little touches on the way through. Jack Grealish gets a touch, and Nunes just not switched on. Could have been offside, but still, if he switches on there, that's 4-0. I didn't know that, Jen, being sent to Coventry. It's getting quite historical, this stream, isn't it? The game's done, so apologies if anyone's wanting really high detailed commentary from myself. There isn't that much to talk about, and I'm not ignoring chances or anything like that, but I'm certainly not going to pretend this action is the most scintillating game of football I've ever seen, because it's a bit... it's not great from either. Definitely City are the better side, obviously, but we've been a bit sloppy. They've been poor, offered virtually nothing. Their home performance at the Wankdorf Stadium was much better. And they created opportunities. I remember in the first minute at the Wankdorf Stadium, they... had a chance, didn't they? Edison had to pull out a save in like the second minute. So I haven't seen any of that from young boys. Nothing, really. Absolutely nothing. Jack Grealish out to Doku. Doku and Grealish on the same pitch. Grealish is inside, by the way. He's playing as a number 10 right now, Jack Grealish. Doku on his left side. Onto his right foot. Shoots. Ratchiopi saves. I haven't watched that Ted Lasso thing. Is it any good, Anthony? Pep's in it, isn't he? That's what caught my attention. I knew of it. I've seen the show about, but I know they did an episode at the Etihad, didn't they? And Pep Guardiola's in the episode, like in the opposite dugout for Ted Lasso. Doku bringing it down the left-hand side again. He's got 1-on-2, really. 3 full-backs to beat there. 3 players. Lays it back to Grealish. Nunes, edge of the area, drills it over the bar. Nunes trying to get his goal. Getting high fives off Rico Lewis, trying to pick his spirits up, because I think he's a bit desperate for a something to shout about. A goal would give him a nice boost of confidence. Make him feel... I mean, he's welcome. He's obviously a welcome individual at Manchester City Football Club, but, you know, it just brings that feel of, like, yeah, I'm here now. I've made a statement. I've scored a goal. It does make you feel even more part of the team, if that makes sense. And I think he's searching for it. I've been more impressed by Nunes than I have by Kovacic in this game. Kovacic, who's come off, by the way. Calvin Phillips nudging the back there, and it's Ruben Diaz bringing it forward here. Lovely bit of play. No one can stop him. City managing to prevent a counter-attacking opportunity there. Doku showing some good strength. Beats his man. And again, twisting and turning. Jeremy Doku is such a good dribbler. It's Ganvula, who is someone I know very little about. An absolute man-mountain of an individual is on the pitch. Number 35 for... Oh, and Oscar Bob's in. He's got to go away from goal, though. He's got to go, and he's offside. Yeah, absolute unit. Ganvula was just ghosting past people there. Oh, so close to 100 likes. Can we get to 100 likes? 130 of you in the building. If we could get this to 100 likes, that'd be great. Is it 5-0? I agree, Muddy Duck. I've been very unimpressed by this performance since 10 men. I think the substitutions need to be factored in. I'm not saying it's been poor. I'm just saying it's like we've lacked that cutting edge. You know, we've not really created anything that's real opportunities, massive opportunities, and we've been wasteful with the half chances that we've had. You know, shots from that are very easy to block, as well as outside of the area ones that they've either gone straight down Rachioppi's throat, or they've been blocked with ease, or they've flown over the bar. You know, and these half chances that we're creating haven't really been that penetrative. You know, I'm thinking 10 man, 3-0 down, we're about to go and make this like 6-7. But it's not looked like that at all. It's not like we've been bad, and we've not looked like we're going to concede a load of goals either. But still. No way. Have Red Star just equalised? Or have they closed the gap? Is that what you're saying? It must be. Yeah, it's 2-1. Nunes down the right wing. Going to win a corner there, surely. Corner ball. 88th minute. Hillflow. Good to see you. Sorry if you've popped up in the chat already and I've not said hi to you. Oscar Bob. I really like Oscar Bob, you know. Just guides past players. Then he's fed in Phil Foden. Knocks it back to Calvin Phillips. Gotta be Ruben Diaz. Calvin Phillips, bad touch, out for a goal kick. Claim for a penalty in there as well, because Phil Foden was brought down. I don't think they're going to give it. But Phil Foden was definitely brought down in the build-up play there. No, it's not a penalty. Calvin Phillips swings viciously at the ball, but I think it was nipped off his toe by a Young Boys defender. Then Ruben Diaz brings it under control and tries to feed it back to Calvin Phillips. This is all going on the edge of the 6-yard box as well. And Calvin Phillips swinging a miss, and again, a poor touch, and he knocks it out for a goal kick. Doku wins the ball back after Nathan Ake's first initial tackle. Nunes down the right wing. I like Nunes. He's not been perfect, but there's an intent about him. He tries things, and I like that. Doku, lovely turn. Edge of the area, Jack Grealish, one more to Ake, surely. No, it's gone the other way. Found some space for Nunes, though. Nunes with space to cross it. It's got to get a better crossing than that. It's only Oscar Bob to aim for, in fairness. Ganvula with some great hold-up play. Sends away Garcia by the looks of it. Ruben Diaz with a beastly tackle. Last man. You're not getting past me, mate. What are you thinking? I'm Ruben Diaz. Lovely football. Defensive football from City there. That's what I like to see as well. Good that we kept a clean sheet as well. So this is our 28th win. Sorry, not 28th win. 28th game at the Etihad in the Champions League unbeaten. Which makes us 2 short of equaling Liverpool's, and that would be an English Champions League record for an English team, where they went 30 games at Anfield unbeaten. So we're 2 games off equaling that. We've got, how many? We've got Red Star away, haven't we? We've got RB Leipzig at home. So we've got one more game in the group stage, which you hope we don't lose. And then it goes into the knockouts after that. Our next home game, our 30th home game, will be in the knockouts. But Nunes is a man possessed right now. You know, he's sprinting around everywhere. He really wants to get himself a goal. 3 minutes of injury time added on. Who's your favourite for winning this Champions League if it's not City? Who scares you most, in other words? I mean, it's Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, really, isn't it? I think you're going to pick from those two. And looking at Bayern Munich, what they did to Dortmund at the weekend. Harry Kane scoring goals as well. Leroy Sané as well. Here's Doku. But they've got a mad result in them, Bayern Munich. Like a negative one. Nunes down the right-hand side. He's playing right wing, Nunes, at the minute. Keep saying Nunes on the right, and he's like, I thought that's just circumstantial, but he's pinning himself on the right wing. Doku gives it away. Nathan Ake intercepts it, though. Yeah, Madrid with Bellingham, mate. Yeah. Here is Nunes. Come on, mate. Get your goal. Oh, he's cut it back. He had to. Fair play to him, but it was blocked. I agree, Muddy Duck. I love the way he's driving forward. Doku gives it away, but Rico Lewis picks it up. Ruben Diaz chilling on the right wing. Grealish with some space now. Gvardiol with an overlap. Into Doku. Doku didn't know he had the ball. Goes down and way too easy. Even I can tell that's a dive from here. Referee says get up. Doku was a bit silly there. I think he got caught on the ball and then he tried to win the free kick. A little bit of a dive there from Doku. Real Madrid, Jonny, they who you scare you most. I think I forgot about Bellingham. How can I forget about Bellingham? The start that he's had at Real Madrid's been sensational, hasn't it? Crossed in from Young Boys. Rico Lewis tries to nod it away and I think gets a bit lucky. I don't think anyone gets a touch on it. But we're about to hear the full-time whistle. Oh, this is done and dusted, really, to be honest. Foden, edge of the area. Oh, it's blocked. Thought we were going to nick a goal then. Nunes on the ball. And there it is. Full-time whistle. Bit of a formality. Not the most exciting game. The quality of the football. Institutions played their part. I think we were hitting our stride really well in that first 30 minutes of the first half. Second half, we never really seemed to grab the game with any sort of aggressive assertiveness to, bury them, make it 6. That sort of attitude wasn't quite there. But it certainly wasn't a poor performance by any stretch of the imagination, just not quite ticking here and there. And I think the substitutions played their part, but you can't argue. 3-0, comfortable win in the end. Erling Haaland gets himself goals. And Manchester City, top of the group, qualified as well. We're in to the knockout stages. You're very welcome, Jan. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for coming along. And thank you to all in the chat for joining me as usual. Good to see the same faces, or names at least. I don't see your faces, do I? I wish I could. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? See a little pictures of your face. I think Anthony, I can see your face there actually, Anthony. Bet that made you go under a bit there, didn't it? Zooming in on you, Anthony. I see you, Anthony. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good. Thank you very much for joining me in the watch long. I'll try and do a quick match reaction after this as soon as I can. And I'll see you in the next one. See you later.